The Nasdaq 100 and tech stocks were off to a flyer at the start of 2023. Now, slowed down a little bit in the last few weeks. Is that a good or a bad sign? Is there still more to come to the upside? Can we see those tech stocks regain all that lost ground that they've given back over the last year or so? It's an exciting time for the tech weighted index, and I'm going to dig in to the detail, look at some charts, sentiment, fundamentals, and try and have a look and see where that price is going to go next. So with that, let's get into the detail. Now, just to show you how good a start to 2023 the Nasdaq 100 had, I've put together this very stringy diagram of the performance of pretty much the world's major stock markets, and you can see right up the top there, that guy there is the Nasdaq 100, 10.69%, saying that's nearly 2.5% bigger than its nearest rival, and closely followed actually by the US 2000 index. That's the Russell 2000. The black line in the middle is the S&P 500, up about 5%, so it's doubled the performance there. So a pretty decent start. You can see it's been giving back over February after those really strong gains in January. But just to give you an idea that it is the leading stock market on the planet at the moment. Now, digging into some longer term price action, we've got the weekly Heikin-Ashi chart going back to 2017 here for the Nasdaq 100 using the E-mini futures contract. That's ticker NQ front month. That's the one with the most volume, open interest for traders. And what can we learn from the chart? Well, actually, I suppose the first thing that strikes me is we've got this big pullback down here, and now we've got this nice double bottom pattern creating. We've got a very key support area around 10,500, and to me that means we could at least see that 61.8% Fibonacci line tested around 14,400 reasonably soon, and then it's a case of pushing on up to these sort of highs, 16,500 areas, and then if it really can and it has a strong 23, then 19,400, 19,500 isn't out the question. And in terms from where that is now, that's another 55% away, and you add it on to the gain so far, you're looking at near 70% return if it could get back up to those highs. And it's all very possible, as you can see from the history. It only takes the fundamentals to shift slightly, and there's still some really good value left here in the Nasdaq 100. Now, what supporting evidence have we got to the bull side at the moment? Well, I'm looking at the commitment of traders data here for the E-mini futures contract. Draw your attention to the blue and red lines. That's the dealer and asset managers, and I like to see them moving in line with the price, and you can see them building up their positions since the beginning of January, going a much longer, and they account for about 50% of that contract. So I like to keep an eye on what they're doing, and at the moment they look both bullish. Another guide that I use is volatility, and just like with the S&P 500 and its volatility measure, which is the VIX, the Nasdaq 100 has one as well. It's VXN, and theory works out exactly the same way. I'm looking for the inverse relationship. I'm looking for vol down, price up, and we've got the longer term on the left, and we can see we have had that vol down, and over 23 it stayed around this area. It's just been picking up into the neutral area at the moment. That's that slowdown. That was, we could see here it pulling off the start of the year, which sparked that I would say sort of price surge, and then February time it's picked up a bit, the volatility, a bit of fear creeping in, maybe some profit taking, and it's sort of ended in this no man's land. And in the shorter term you can see actually the price coming down of the VXN, the volatility, so coming down there, and it's just bounced back into neutrality once more. And our two indicators at the bottom, well, we've got the sort of bearish there for the VXN, which is a good sign for the Nasdaq in the longer term, but on the short term we've got the indicator pointing bullish, which should mean some short-term bearish pressure on the Nasdaq 100 price. Also like to see what's going on with the individual stocks, how they're moving and shaking inside that 100 index. And here I'm using the CAGI chart to look at how many stocks in the top right here are above their 200-day moving average, and at the moment that's looking all very bullish. And the 50-day moving average, same thing, all very bullish as well. And then this one's just the New York Stock Exchange 52-week highs. They have been returning back stronger after that little sell-off there, and the indicator still showing much bullishness there. So those indicators still indicating, you know, further upside gains. And if you are in for a reversal in the price after this, you know, short-term sell-off in the last short while that we have seen, then the line break chart here, what's the 4-line break setup that I use, is good for timing your way in for either up or down moves. And at the moment we have a bullish setup. We've got the price coming on down, so we'll be looking for that reversal in price. And we've got 2 entry points. If you're a bit more aggressive, 12,300 and 12,350. Now heading into some shorter term price action using the Renko chart. Used a $50 block size here for this shorter term price action. Gives me more signals, more action. And what can we learn from the chart? Well, at the moment the indicators down here at the bottom both pointing bearish, and as we can see from the price on there also, it's broken outside of this two blue line band area here and the offset Fibonacci, and it's all, like I said, looking a bit weak at the moment. And if we go back, look at the price action, then we've got these turnaround points here, which you can much more clearly see with the Renko tool. And if we look at this turning point there, before we saw that nice breakout run up there in the early part of February before this neutrality, that could provide where we're at now a possible bounce area to the upside, or for those more bearish, watch out for the break below and then down, maybe first of all to about 12,000 and then 11,500. But if that bounce can come in, it's back to those highs, 12,800, 12,900, and then you're looking mid-13s and sort of latter part of the 13s, you know, 13,750 as your next shorter term upside targets. Going a bit longer, then what have we got? Well, using a $200 block size for this one, slows the action down, gives me more of a trend picture of what's going on. Indicators at the bottom still holding bullish at the moment, both of them, there you go, looking bullish. DMI cross there and the awesome oscillator, both bullish. Heading into the price action, you can see that, you know, subtle retracement that's taking place at the moment. It's about $300 a block size there forming out at the moment. We saw that push up and through the bands. Now it's just retracing back into sort of the mean area of where the price should probably be trading at the moment. Now, what about potential targets in the longer term? Well, if it all does turn nasty, we've got to, like say, get through those low areas around about 10,500, and then really it's a slippery slope down to 8,000s, but that's, you know, a lot longer term price action. And to the upside, if we can get a bounce from here, it doesn't want to go below this Fibonacci line, about 12,000 area, then, you know, you could be talking 14.3, 14.5, then up to those highs of 16,500 area, and in dream world, you know, 19,000. So at the moment, you know, with that downtrend that we've been playing through for the last year or so, still sort of holding, but as you can see that momentum slowing down. You know, it's fighting, you know, a tight battle at the moment between, you know, the bulls and the bears, and it's going to be an interesting time to watch. Like I say, who's going to win out? It's pretty neutral at the moment, and you know, the next month or so could tell us a lot where the rest of the year is going to play out to. Let's put a score on things then, and at the moment I think we're getting into a bit of no man's land as it's fighting in either direction, as I've sort of stressed in the video so far. Had a good start to the year after a really poor 22. A lot of potential there really if you think about it. All those tech stocks with, you know, they're the future of our planet, and there's a lot of good value in there, so there's a lot of encouraging signs there. And heading on to the top right, that group of extra sort of supporting detail, you know, stocks greater than their moving averages, the 52-week highs, you know, commitment of traders, all reasonably bullish there in the background. Seasonality, which we didn't cover in here, at the moment neutral. The volatility back in that sort of cloud area, again giving us a neutral sign. And if you are bullish, live break chart, a couple of entry points for you there as well. And if we head up into those Renko charts for the price action, again it's all very neutral. Those trends have sort of stabilized sideways, but we've got offsetting signal shorter term, we've got current bearish, medium term more bullish. Now if you're talking targets, being a bit more aggressive, then upside 4.8 and 7.6 to 1, downside 2.57 and 4.7 to 1. So there's a lot in there for, you know, all directions. Maybe if you're an options trader, a straddle on there as well, because there's plenty of volatility I still think to come over the year ahead. But overall, at this point of time, it's a neutral score for the Nasdaq 100. So Nasdaq 100 and the tech stocks are some of my favourite markets to trade. They've served me well over the last few years. Now at the moment I appreciate it's tougher times. There's a lot of geopolitical noise out there, China, Russia, you know, a whole host of other variables that could put a spanner in the works. But underlying that, the fundamentals of these stocks, they're the future of our world. So potentially they've got good buy-in potential. So I'm erring on the bullish side, although at the moment it's neutral. I'm going to follow the rule, trade what you see, stick to your strategy and plan. I'm going to jump in at the right moment. I don't think it is there at the moment. And if we can have a good year, there's plenty of upside. There's that 50-60% potential gains if, you know, the winds catch the right sails for the rest of the year to be had there by many a trader. So let me know in those comments below what you think is going to happen next to the Nasdaq 100 and tech stocks. Where are they heading for 2023? Love to hear from you. And if you want to learn more about the charts, technical analysis that I've used in this video, whether it be from, you know, the Kagi, the Renko, the Heikinashi, then I'm going to put a playlist for you together now that you might want to watch, and it's going to explain all about those charts.